W2 into 0 minus theta should be negative. Okay? তাই তো হওয়া উচিত। এটা শর্ত। আর এর ক্ষেত্রে 0 হওয়া উচিত। Less than 0, less than 0. For this one only, it should be greater than equal to 0. Plus, first be convinced with it, then I will proceed. When I get from your response that all of you are convinced, then I will proceed.
Yes.
Clear? So this is the set of inequalities generated out of this. This one. Now think, there are four inequalities, the rightmost. There are 4 inequalities. Can you solve it? Can you have W1, W2 and theta combination, these 3 parameter combination in such a way that these conditions satisfy simultaneously? If I am able to provide even a single combination of W1, W2 and theta satisfying these conditions, I am through. Are you with me? এবার লক্ষ্য করো আমি কি নিয়েছিলাম? W1 equal to 1, W2 equal to 1, W3 equal to 1.5. দেখা যাক। W1 equal to 1, W2 equal to 1, theta equal to 1.5. 1 is less than 1.5, 1 is less than 1.5, 1.5 is greater than 0, 1 plus 1, that is 2, is greater than equal to 1.5. All the 4 conditions are satisfied, right? So, it means that it is feasible to have at least one solution, one combination of solutions W1 and W2 and 3 theta satisfying this. Even if at least one condition is there that is capable to have a solution of this, তার মানে কি দাঁড়ালো? তার মানে হলো এরকম একটা architecture যদি আমি বানাই, if I prepare an architecture like this with 2 nodes at the input, 1 node at the output, with their weights just specified like this, and bias at the output like this, it's possible to realize AND gate by that. Now, what type of a perceptron is this? It's a single layer perceptron. Okay? Now, it is a single layer perceptron capable of serving the purpose of AND gate, basically. Still, the question is not answered. Why it is linear? Coming. Half the question is explored. Till there is something more. Okay? Another important question. How many solution points are there satisfying this property? W1 equal to 1, W2 equal to 1, theta equal to 1.5 is one solution. Accepted. There are infinite solutions. And anyone will be, out of them will be accepted. If I can get hold of and provide at least one W1, W2 and theta combination satisfying these properties, my problem of AND gate is solved using SLP. Right? Now, interestingly, we have infinite solutions. We have provided only one out of them. coming to that linearity of the nature of the problem a bit later. Coming to XOR. First of all, in the same way you can think of your OR gate. Anyone want to volunteer? OR gate কি হবে?
দুটো ওয়ান হলে শুধু ওয়ান হবে।
বলতো W1 কি নেব?
এই সরি, মাথাটা খারাপ হয়ে গেছে। সরি।
So, should I solve it? Should I? Is it required? I can put 0, 0, this one will be nice. This one will be greater than equal to 0. This one will be greater than equal to 0. So, you have to, so your revised, just let me write down the inequalities. Theta should be positive. Okay.
Greater than.
Exactly. W1 greater than equal to theta. W2 greater than equal to theta. And W1 plus W2. Tell me. How many solutions are there? Is there at least one solution? First of all.
স্যারের বোধহয় গরম লাগছে।
No, I am comfortable. If you are comfortable. না ওটা একটা জ্বর হয়েছে।
না না স্যার, আমার জন্য শুধু ইয়ে করতে হবে, আমি পেছনে বসে যাবো, চালিয়ে দাও তাহলে, তোমাদের যদি কিছু লাগে।
হ্যাঁ, তবে ও সামনে বসে তাই কোশ্চেন অনেক ভালো ফেস করছে। So he is my friend. So it's nice. It's encouraging for the speaker to come up with questions. So what is the solution? So look, if I have these things, this will indicate that W1 plus W2 is greater than equal to 2 theta, and since theta is positive, it is even bigger than theta. It is automatically satisfied. So infinite many solutions, which means that SLP can solve the problem of OR problem, for OR gate, right? Now, XOR. Yes, please. Any comment in the audience? Theta is positive, W2 is greater than equal to theta, W1 is greater than equal to theta. Unfortunately, W1 plus W2 is less than. Please come out with one W1, W2 and theta combination satisfying all these properties together.
No.
So you're stuck off. Okay? So, what is the moral of the story coming out? You cannot solve XOR problem using a simple.
দারুণ স্যার।
The question of linearity and nonlinearity has not yet been resolved. I am coming. But at least this much, I think I won't be under or subjected to any challenge that XOR problem is unsolvable using a simple. এগুলোর পরে আসবে, আমি আগে এর সলিউশনটা দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করি, এটা আবার পরে আসবে। So this is input 1, this is input 2. White mark means
Zeros.
white marked, these nodes are white marked means their value is 0.
Zero.
Output value is 0. So this is your 0 input, 1 input. So this is 0, 0 means input. This stands for 0, 0. 0, 0 means input 1 is 0, output 1 is also 0. So both the inputs are 0, then output is
0.
0. That is what is white point. It's your input. Okay? Input, this is 1, 0. Input 1 is 1 and input 2 is 0. What will be the output? 0. White mark. The marking takes place, the color of the output, color of the node is on the basis of the output generated. If the output is 0, it's marked white. If it is 1, it's marked red. Similarly, this is 0, 1 combination. Output is 0, so white mark. 1, 1 combination means W1, both the inputs are 1 means output is 1. So that is why it is red.
Linear.
Now the question is, the question that you have raised. Question of linearity means, is it possible to construct a specific line, straight line, by which you can distinguish
between two classes.
You can distinguish two classes, all the outputs into two classes. One with all outputs, red mark. On the other hand, on the other side, all white mark. Answer is yes. If you can do that, then it's a linear problem. Because why linear? Because using a straight line, I can distinguish. I am able to distinguish. Now the question is, how many possible straight lines will be there? Infinite many. Anything, straight line with whatever slope and intercept, you can solve my problem. And how many such straight line combinations will be there? Infinite. So that is why there are infinite such solutions. Clear? One such combination is that. In fact, the one we discussed. Coming to what? Linear? Convincingly linear. One straight line solution with this combination. However, there are many more. Infinite many. Okay? Come here. Your extra problem. 2 white, 2 red. You are supplied only one straight line. Separately. Your limitation is you are given only one straight line. Anyway, can you do that?
এইটা বইতে করা আছে, এটা বোঝা যায়, কিন্তু আপনি যে আগেরটা বললেন সলিউশন একাধিক থাকবে, ওটা সলিউশন থাকবে না, এই জিনিসটা কোথাও আমি পাইনি। জানি না, এখন হয়তো আমি মিস করেছি।
Sir,
Thank you. At least some new ingredients are there. Okay.
Sir, therefore, we can prove by two types. One is graphically and one is mathematically, sir.
No, graphical, by this type of representation, we are showing that why the problem is characteristically linear and why the problem is non-linear. Linear means you can have, in two-dimensional scenario I am talking about, you can have a straight line separating two classes. Okay? If a single straight line is insufficient to serve this purpose, it comes under the purview of nonlinear. And next one is characteristically nonlinear because one's choice of one straight line is inadequate or insufficient.
স্যার এটা তো আমরা বুঝতে পারলাম বিকজ ডাইমেনশন ইজ লেস। ইন কেস অফ হায়ার ডাইমেনশন ওই ইকুয়েশনগুলো কি করে বের করব? তো খুব
straight
কঠিন।
line becomes hyperplane. So instead of a straight line,
হ্যাঁ বুঝছি।
good question. So a straight line is typically W1 x1 plus W2 x2, say plus or minus theta, equal to theta. Whatever. It's a typical representation of a straight line in x1, x2 plane. If you want to generalize it, that means n-dimensional scenario, it will be w1 x1 plus w2 x2 plus wn xn equal to theta. This is n-dimensional scenario, which is a typical hyperplane in n-dimensional Euclidean space. Hyperplane, but linear surface. There is no curvature in the surface. That is how a hyperplane is defined. Multidimensional, but there is no curvature in the plane. Okay? Whenever there is a curvature, in the only. Get it?
স্যার আগেরটা একটু আগে স্লাইডটা একবার দেখুন।
এটা
হ্যাঁ স্যার। স্যার এই লাস্ট এই হিডেন লেয়ারটা কিভাবে কাজ
আসছি
করে?
আসছি এটা তো মাঝখানে মানে এটা হবে না একটু বলি আবার আসবো so basically in fact you can see that if you introduced a hidden layer like this, okay, apart from this input layer and output layer, then you can have a combination. First of all, in that case your number of parameters increases. How many parameters in that case are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 is 2x and 9. So with 9 many parameters at your disposition, now you are a bit powerful. It's apparently counterintuitive. As if I could not handle 3 parameters, now I have got 9 parameters to handle. But interestingly, the numerical addition will give you some relief. You can have a solution. Here is another truth. Think of a situation that with these 9 parameters, if you don't have a solution, first of all, with these 9 parameters, there will be inequalities, sequence of inequalities like that, okay, as it was in the previous case. However, if there is not a single solution encompassing all the 9 possible parameters, what is it is indicative of? It is indicative of that single layer, introduction of one intermediate layer for solving that nonlinear problem is not possible. You need further introduction of intermediate.
Sir, please repeat.
If you introduce one layer, one intermediate layer, right? How many parameters then there will be involved? 9 parameters. Why 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then threshold, 7, 8, 9. Instead of W1, W2 and theta as was the case in earlier situation, in case of SLP or single layer. So now it is 9 parameters. With so many parameters at your choice, you are now powerful. Okay? Now you have to cleverly fix your values so that all the inequalities coming out of it, they are satisfied. Okay? With these 9 parameters, involving these 9 parameters. If there is a combination of 9 values corresponding to these 9 parameters, solving all the inequalities, you are through. This multi-layer perceptron with one single hidden layer or single intermediate layer serves your purpose. Think of the other situation. It is not XOR. In some other situation, if it happens that even with 9 many parameters, you cannot have a choice which satisfies all the inequality conditions. Then what is the interpretation? There are two possibilities. One is that either you have to enhance the number of nodes in the intermediate layer if it serves your purpose. If not, then accommodation of only one layer as intermediate layer to solve that particular problem is inadequate. You will be in need of accommodation of further intermediate layers for solving that problem. Clear? Now, in fact, this is what the question that came up. This is, higher dimension of hyperplane, and question is, if a hyperplane of higher dimension exists, then it is the property called linear separability. That means existence of one hyperplane clearly distinguishing two classes of outputs completely indicates that this is linearly separable. Linear separability or linearly separable means is a linear property. Otherwise, it is not linearly separable or non-linearly separable, like X or, indicating that it is falling short of being a linear problem, it is a non-linear problem, and for that SLP doesn't serve your purpose. You have to go for infinity. Clear? It's a typical example. So these are the laws. Suppose. If these are your points, linearly separable, can you think of having a single straight line distinguishing red from white? So this is not linearly separable scenario. Okay? Which means that if your classification problem, if you are in a classification problem trying to classify red or distinguish red from white mark, a single straight line is not going to serve your purpose. You need more than one straight line. So it's a non-linear problem. If the question is for a classification of a structure like this, SLP is sufficient? Answer is no. Straight line. Now there is a question mark here. It is even more complicated. Suppose if it is white mark, life is comparatively easier. Non-linear, but life is easier. Life will be really difficult if incidentally if it is red. So it's a more Bengal supporter within East Bengal supporters. Okay? Or a Trinamool supporter within CPM. CPM supporters within Trinamool, whatever it may be. So a scenario like this. So it's a red one, think. Then the nature of nonlinearity, first of all it is nonlinear, no doubt about it. And even more than that, the nature of nonlinearity is very complex. Yeah. So if you draw this boundary, combination of nonlinear or piecewise linear, whatever it may be, some solution is there, but still it suffers from misclassification. And if you want to classify them completely, just imagine one outlet, such points are called outlets. One outlet is creating havoc in your life. Outlets are always dangerous. Try to put them in the proper component. Okay. will say, otherwise you are in trouble. Okay, let us come back. Where exactly we were?
Sir, in case of small number of outliers, it should be better to discard them. Better কি ক্লাসিফিকেশনের জন্য?
No, it's really actually. Yeah, please.
Sir, then how many straight lines or how many hidden layers will be required to solve that last one you showed?
Last one. I mean, single hidden layer is definitely not. I am not sure whether two will be sufficient. Possibly not, maybe 3. I am not sure. We have to test. More the number of hidden layers you require to solve a problem, more is the nature of the complexity or nature of nonlinearity associated.
আমি যেটা বলছিলাম যদি আউটলায়ার খুব কম থাকে ইন দ্যাট কেস ওগুলোকে কি বাদ দিয়ে দিলেই তো হয় রিজেক্ট করা কি দরকার আছে
So, I mean, in that case,
মানে
your
ক্লাসিফিকেশন
solution suffers from, your solution is not an exact number.
হ্যাঁ সেটা তো জানি
It suffers from misclassification.
হ্যাঁ
But even then, in certain situations, it is
কমপ্লেক্সিটি
done.
তো অনেক কমে যাবে
If it is found that to identify a single, this is the typical scenario. If we forego that, one layer is, I mean, one intermediate layer is sufficient. Instead, if we want to have an exact solution accommodating that, I require say 3 to 4 additional intermediate layers to solve it completely. Then the question is a question of trade-off. Should I go for this additional computational complexity all the time, or better we accept this misclassification to a certain extent and proceed further? Okay.
Sir,
So that trade-off of that problem persists. Yes.
so that means by looking at the problem, first of all, we cannot determine the
Not that I
number
know
of
of
hidden
it.
layers.
Not that I know of it at least. I don't know. There is any. I think. Not that I have been reported. Okay, anything else? Okay, all of them
স্ট্যাটাস
সেটা সিম্পল বরাবরই না এটা একটা লজিক্যাল জায়গা শুনতে পারো আর নাহলে আবার শুরু করলে কিন্তু আবার so after all I don't want as a speaker to have artificial neural network coming in the way of fabulous lunch.
Which type of problems neural network is used? Only classifications or?
Classification is the biggest one and this is for training. The part that I have not yet touched. I intend to go into that in the next. So this is basically cognition and recognition. That means you make your artificial neural network first of all capable of learning to understand typical object and to recognize that object in subsequent phase. So that means it starts behaving in some intelligent way. So imparting intelligence or elements of intelligence is another part which we shall try to describe in the next question. Okay? So but before we discuss for lunch, any question? Whatever we discussed, was it convincing or?
স্যার আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে সেটা হচ্ছে ধরুন আমি যখন আউটলায়ারগুলো বাদ দিয়ে দিচ্ছি সেটা তো আমার প্রবলেমের জন্য আমি বাদ দিচ্ছি
ডিসকার্ড করছো
সেটা তো আমি কোনো বেঞ্চমার্ক ফাংশনের মতো
না সেটা নির্ভর করছে তুমি জিনিসটা করছো সেটা হচ্ছে তোমার যদি এমন সাইজ থাকে দুটো ক্রিয়েটার কাজ তোমাদের 36,000 ইন্টারমিডিয়েট লেয়ার
ট্রাই করবো তখন হয়তো ওটা আমাকে ধরো
না কোশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে এইটা that it's an outlier. Just drop it.
আমি আর একটাই কোশ্চেন
My question is, if you expect your artificial neural network to identify that it is an outlier, then this is a separate problem. That means your artificial